Because once it takes root, it's much more difficult. If we could only remember the words of the Rambam in Hilchos Deis, when the Rambam writes, "Eloroi loy lo adam," it is right and appropriate, v'yeis mavra midaisav, to give in, to not stand by principle. I'll call divrei ha'olam, for everything. Now listen to the words of a Rambam. Shahakayol eitzel hamivinim. Because for those people, was verstehen, those people that understand, hakayol eitzel hamivinim, divrei hevel v'havoi. Because it's all narishkeit. It's all stuyot. It's all garnished. Sha'koyol eitzel hamivinim divrei hevel v'avoy ve'enon kedai linkem alei. Not worth it to take revenge. One should not stand on principle, but rather be mevater. And if we could just stop for a minute when we get upset with someone or something, and ask ourselves the following question. Try this. Will this make a difference 10 years from now? 5 years from now? A year from now? Will this make a difference? And will it even make a difference tomorrow? And the answer is usually no. So many machlokes and arguments erupt over the smallest and insignificant issues. Who gets to omit in shul? But I have yahrzeit for my grandfather. But I have yahrzeit from my brother. Brother before grand. But you don't know what's the shul with Laura. You try to give a schus to somebody, father, mother, brother, sister, grandfather. You want to give a schus. Oh, that's a great schus. Get into a fight with somebody. Over the omit. Not speaking to somebody because you weren't invited to their chassid. Or they were only invited to the chuppah. You didn't invite the chuppah? What do you think I am? A schnorrer? Chuppah? You don't speak to somebody. And someone makes an offhand, careless remark. You get mortally offended. Or here is perhaps the greatest cause of machlokes in shul. The guy finished 5 minutes late. That is an impeachable offense. That is an unforgivable offense. You think I'm making this up? Ma'aseh shahaya in a shul in a community that shall remain nameless. On the first day that people were allowed to daven in shuls, first day, back in shul, you'd think it would be betupim uvimachayles. There were 3 minyanim, 6:15, 7 o'clock, and 7:30 or 7:45. The 6:15 minyan is supposed to finish at 7. The person who davened for the Amid was an Ovel. He had not davened in shul since his Korev died. He wasn't used to the Amid. He finished 5 minutes late. Words were exchanged, machlekes, on the first day back in shul. And then it devolves into a machlekes. If we could only be mavater and forego and give in. And rather than looking at it only from a purely personal perspective, look at it from a global perspective. Acts of vatronis that are many times the keys to making shalom can influence the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. Who wouldn't want that? Yes, you may be right. And you know you're right. But give in anyway. Because that's the only way to avoid machlekes and settle bitter machlekes. Rav Leib Steinman, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, once said, and I quote the translation in English, I think that the only approach is that everyone make up his mind to be mevater, even if one is right, because it is worthwhile in order to prevent strife. You know, a Yid once came to Rav Shach, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, and he was in a situation that he was asked to be mevater, even though objectively he was right. What should I do? The man asked Rav Shach. And Rav Shach said, I am an old man, and I have lived, Baruch Hashem, a long life. And I have never, ever seen someone lose out because he was mevater. It may not happen right away. It may take a while. But you never lose. And just to quote but one story that brings this into light. There was a girl in the time when she was a little girl, always wanted to be a teacher. She went to seminary, and while many of her friends went into fields that are more lucrative, like graphic design or speech therapy or the like, she was committed to becoming a teacher. But alas, she lived in Yerushalayim or HaKodesh, where there was a plethora of teachers, and she could not find a job. Finally, after much effort, putting ads in local papers, she received a call from a principal of a Beis Yaakov to come for an interview. She was ecstatic. Finally, a chance to land a job. But then, she met shortly thereafter a married friend who was desperately looking for a teaching job herself. Because she was married, her husband was in Kailo, they were running out of money, and if she didn't find a teaching job, her husband would be forced to leave Kailo. This girl tells her married friend, listen, I'm going for an interview to a Beis Yaakov, why don't you come with me? Maybe they'll have another job as well. So they both went, they both interviewed, and they both did very well. Later on, this girl, the unmarried girl, gets a phone call from the principal, the job is yours. She then asked the principal, is there anything perhaps available for my friend? And she said, no, we only have this one position. This girl was at once thrilled but tormented. Thrilled to get a chance for a dream job, but tormented by the thought that her friend would still be jobless. She then explained to the principal that she really wanted the job. But this was a very difficult decision for her to make. She knew that her friend needed a job more. because she had to support her husband. So she said, give the job to her. Even though she was well aware that she was single, but that she would eventually get married, that she would also have to support her husband. But she said, give the job to her because she needs it more. And the friend took the job. Sometime later, a shadchan called up this girl and said to her, I have a shidduch for you. Are you interested? And guess what? I'm sure you guessed. It was for the son of the principal whom she interviewed. And the principal said that she was so impressed with this girl who was willing to be mafata, willing to give up, that she wants this girl for her own son. And they got married, and I hope they lived happily ever after. Like Rav Shach said, he never saw anyone lose by being mavata. And in the process, when we will do this, we will, in Mirz Hashem, help bring back the Beis HaMikdash and the Geula Shlema, which we so sorely need. In Hera, Uli Amen. Amen.